Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chris Buckley, and I'm part of the 405 Improvement Project Community Outreach Team. Thank you for joining us today. I'm going to be here with Logan Selleck discussing upcoming activities along Northgate Road. Logan will be providing a brief update on the project, and then we'll focus in on the activities. And now just a little bit of housekeeping. Logan?
Perfect. Thank you, Chris. And hello, everyone. After the presentation, we'll have a Q&A where participants will have the opportunity to ask questions. If you wish to ask a question during the Q&A portion, click Q&A and type your question, and then click send. This is at the bottom of your screen. For those of you joining us by phone, dial *9 from your phone to virtually raise your hand. We will call on the caller using the last 4 digits of your phone number. The caller will hear a message that it is their turn to ask a question, and they may press *6 to unmute. Again, we'll repeat this as if you do call in and ask us a question. We have some resources for you, including the project fact sheet, our bridge map and fast facts, our Express Lanes FAQ, and the Express Lanes access map. We will link these documents in the chat, and you can download them anytime during the presentation. We'll also be sharing a link to sign up for project alerts, which you can sign up for project-wide alerts or bridge-specific alerts. We'll also be conducting a few instant polls throughout the presentation, so please participate in those when you see them pop up. And we'll be sending out an electronic survey after this meeting, and we'd really appreciate your feedback. Now in the chat, you should be able to see the downloadable links for those documents, or you'll be able to see them shortly. We do have additional team members who are working in the background who will put those links in there and pop up polls throughout the webinar. These people, or those in the back, are Joey Fernandez, Asia Stancil, Jessica Stock, and Anna Finley. They'll be managing your questions, doing research with some of the members of our technical team, and communicating with the audience via the chat box. Finally, we want to let you know that the meeting is being recorded, and we will send a link to the recording in the next 24 hours to our Leisure World database and anyone that's registered for this event. So if you know someone or couldn't join us tonight, tell them to head over to our project website and check out the video. At this time, we'll go ahead and pop up our first poll. So if you could, please take a moment to participate, and we'd like to know how you found out about this webinar so that we can connect with you moving forward. Now we'd like to provide a brief overview and status update on the project, and then we'll talk more about what's coming up near your community. In this slide on the left, you can see the project limits are from approximately SR 73 in Costa Mesa to I-605 in Seal Beach, a length of about 16 miles. On the right, you'll see that one regular lane will be added in each direction of the 405, consistent with Measure M, as shown in yellow. An additional lane will be added in each direction that will combine with the existing carpool lane, provide dual express lanes from SR 73 to I-605 as shown in green. On the next slide, you can see some of the major features of the project. We are replacing 18 bridges as part of this project, widening 4 others, and constructing a new express lanes connector between SR 73 and I-405. We're also building more than 150 walls throughout the project area, and there will be new bike lanes and sidewalks on all the replaced bridges. The overall cost of the project is approximately $2.08 billion. And we're very excited to share that the project is more than 80% complete, and more than 1,000 workers are currently involved in the project each day. 9 of the 18 bridge replacements are complete, and all of the other remaining bridges are now under construction. By the end of summer, we anticipate having another 3 bridges open, making it 12 of 18 bridge replacements fully open to traffic. More than half of the ramps that are being constructed are complete, and approximately half of the paving is also complete. And next, Chris will share details about the Northgate Road activities.
Great. Thank you, Logan. Much appreciated. So as Logan said, I'm going to focus on the work coming up along Northgate Road. As part of the project, we are constructing 2 retaining walls with sound walls on top, and those are shown as blue lines in this image. And we're also installing a new sewer line that runs underneath the 405 between Northgate Road and Old Ranch Parkway, with the work area on Northgate Road shown in orange. Next slide, please. So talking about the walls first, this slide gives you a view of the location of the retaining walls with the sound walls on top, and these are currently under construction. You'll notice that crews recently mobilized a crane and other equipment to the wall 1215 area to begin pile driving. Pile driving is expected to last for about 2 weeks. It'll occur during the daytime between 7 a.m. and about 4 p.m. It may occur on weekdays and Saturdays as needed. We want to get this done as quickly as possible. The second wall, 1205, is being constructed with what are known as CIDH piles. So that's different from pile driving. That's where large holes are augured and the concrete piles are formed in those holes. The sound wall portion for both walls will be constructed using textured masonry block, and they will include a wave pattern as shown on the bottom of this slide. The wave pattern will look more like this on the freeway side, but on the community side of the wall, it'll be a little lighter in color. Let's go ahead and move to the next slide. So now I'm going to focus in a bit on the upcoming sewer work, sewer line work rather, which requires an extended closure of Northgate Road. So beginning as early as June 20th, crews will close Northgate for approximately 3 months to install a new 18-inch sewer line under I-405. It will connect to an existing line under Old Ranch Parkway across the freeway. The work area is shown in orange on the map on the left side of this slide. This area will be closed to all vehicles, pedestrians, and cyclists. During this closure, vehicles will be detoured to Golden Rain Road to enter and exit Leisure World. Access to the Seal Beach Rehabilitation Center and other businesses along Northgate Road will be maintained, though, throughout the closure. Now I'm going to give it back to Logan to talk a little bit about how we engage with the community.
Logan, can you unmute, please?
Thank you, Anna. That's why we have a wonderful team in the background to remind us. Thanks, Chris, as well. So now I'd like to talk a little bit more about our outreach strategies. As you can see from this slide, we connect with the community in a variety of ways, both in print and electronically. For major activities like bridge demolition and pile driving, we canvass flyers to address the issues within about a half mile of the activity. We also send out regular updates by email and through text and automated call alerts. You can sign up for those updates, both project-wide and bridge-specific, using the links in the chat. Those email updates are a quick and efficient tool to alert the community to new information on activities and schedule updates. We also post frequently on social media. That's Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And you can find closures and detour information on our interactive map at octa.net/405map. That information is also available on the navigation app Waze, which you can download using whichever app store that you have on your phone. I'll wrap up our presentation with this slide, which shows all the ways you can reach us or get information about the project. If you have a specific question or concern, call our project helpline or email us at 405project@octa.net. If we don't have an answer for you, we'll work with our colleagues on the technical team to get you one as soon as possible. At this time, we're also going to launch another poll that we'd love for you to participate in. Can you please take a moment? Let us know what is the best way for you to get construction updates. And with that, we'll go ahead and begin the Q&A portion of our meeting. So as a reminder, please go ahead and use the Q&A option at the bottom of your screen. Select Q&A, type in your question, and then click Done to send it to us. Okay. All right. I am seeing a couple questions coming in now. Alan, if you did send in extras, we did not see them first come in. We saw a couple, we saw the beginning. Oh, Sorry,
go.
no, wait for the pause there. Thank you for that. So Alan, Chris Allen's asking for us to address some concerns regarding the landscape, including the older trees located along Sea Beach Boulevard on and off ramps, the height design of the new wall and mitigating noise pollution, as well as general maintenance of the bicycle path, and then concern about mini farms. So I think we could take them one by one, right? Might be easier. So if we want to start with the older trees located at Seal Beach Boulevard on and off ramps.
Sure. So at this point, it's likely that the contractor has removed all of the landscaping that they need to remove in that area. We're going to, Mr. Dale, by the way, I believe, as you'll recall, you emailed us these questions. We're working on the with the technical team to get some answers. But our understanding at this point is that most of the trees that we're talking about in the interchange area that needed to be removed have been removed. There will be landscaping plans. There are landscaping plans associated with the interchange. We're happy to share those with you and anybody else on the meeting or anybody who wants to email us. So please let us know. And we'll come back at you, Mr. Dale. We'll reply to your email with those plans. Regarding the height and design of the two walls, they will range, the walls will range, they'll be essentially the same as they are. They'll range from 10 feet high to 14 feet high. But don't forget that they are on top of retaining walls. So the closer you get to Northgate Road, the higher that portion is going to be. Those walls are constructed in accordance with the needs identified in the environmental document. So the noise analysis was done several years ago. It is the sort of defining document for the design process and the design of the walls, and they are built to meet the appropriate standards established by Caltrans. With regard to maintenance of the bicycle path, that's another question that we have reached out to our colleagues on the technical team to address, and the overgrown weeds. They'll determine sort of the location of that. I know you've helped us with that in terms of providing a map. We're going to get that over to the contractor if it is their responsibility and ask them to address it. But we will get back to you on that as well. And lastly, I believe you have the mini farms. You mentioned that there are organic farms located near the freeway in Leisure World. Those farms, there's nothing within the area that is within a project area. So anything that's related to the project that we could determine impacts air quality, specific to the work that's being done. So there's not going to be any study inside Leisure World that we've done of and analyzed, the soil there. But with respect to the roadway itself, any kind of contaminant, if you will, that exists there, if it exists at a degree or at a level that exceeds what's allowed by Caltrans, then that contaminated soil would be removed. I don't believe there is anything related to that in this particular area. So, but that's all we address. We don't address anything that happens in the farms, and they're airborne contaminants. Again, that's an issue that is addressed in the environmental document. We're happy to share that with you if you'd like to take a look at that document and see if there's anything in there. But to our knowledge, there isn't. I hope that helps.
Perfect. So we do have we have one more question in the chat regarding the start date for Northgate Road. I wanted to point out that we do have the flyer in the chat, so you can go ahead and download it there. But yes, as early as June 20th will be the start of the closure along Northgate Road for the sewer line work. But with that,
and it will be approximately 3 months. Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Chris.
Certainly.
Following that up. With that, we don't have other questions in the Q&A at this time. So please, now is your chance to send them in. Probably give it a second here, Chris, to see if there's any other questions for the group joining us tonight.
Sure. In the meantime, I'm going to mention a few other things. You'll notice that the on-ramps at Seal Beach Boulevard, almost all of them have been closed and reconstructed. The most recent one was the northbound loop on-ramp you can access it from either direction of Seal Beach Boulevard. The next one to be closed, and I'm going to ask the team if they could provide me an update on the timing for this, the general timeframe for this. But the last one to be worked on will be the southbound Seal Beach off-ramp, so the loop off-ramp from southbound 405. So that's coming up here. You know, it's another item. You might also have seen or will see, I think it was supposed to start today, but if it hasn't, it will be soon. And that is pile driving work for a monument that is being constructed at the Seal Beach Boulevard Bridge. And you'll notice if you drive the project area, these monuments exist on all of the new bridges. And we didn't want to leave the existing one, Seal Beach Boulevard, which is relatively new. We didn't want to leave that one out. These monuments carry, at the top of the bridge, they carry artwork. And we have a document, it's a sort of a landscaping document that also talks about aesthetics. And that includes designs for these monuments that were agreed upon by the cities. I believe, and team correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the Seal Beach Monument will include seals, appropriately enough, yeah. So that's that work is starting to construct that monument. That work is starting this week and will continue into the next week.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you, Chris. Yeah, and the aesthetics are for the Seal Beach area are the seals swimming along some of the retaining walls. So you will be seeing that. We did get another question, Chris. The large trees, and this is from Camille, the large trees on southbound 405 are historic in nature, probably remnants of John Bixby's windbreaks planted in the 1880s. And they're requesting if we can please leave the stand of eucalyptus alone.
Sure. You know, as I understand it, the trees that need to be removed have been, but we're going to double check that and make sure. That's going to take us a while because we need to get with the contractor and understand their needs with respect to the remaining trees. So we won't have an answer for you at this meeting, an answer for you on that at this meeting. But as Logan mentioned, we follow up our meetings with surveys and as part of that, or if we can't get it quickly enough, but as part of that effort, we will include responses to questions that we're unable to answer at the meeting. The trees that are in the state right of way, it's possible, it's always possible for them to be affected because that's the Caltrans, the state right of way. And, you know, that's an area that they maintain. They do understand the sensitivity of that, though, around the neighborhoods. We had a recent discussion with some of your neighbors in College Park West because of their concerns regarding some removals of trees. Those removals had to be done for construction of a channel, widening of a channel, and some improvements made there. And it's very frustrating when you've got, you know, this long-standing, you talk about potentially the 1880s, when you've got this long-standing set of trees, eucalyptus trees, whatever they are, you know, and it's this forest essentially it's been growing for years and years, decades, and it has to be removed. But I always, we try to provide advance notice of that when possible. And it's important to know that whatever the contractor takes out, they have a responsibility to install new trees, right? And it's typically more than, you know, a one-for-one planting that goes on. It's typically more trees. If they take one, they plant more than one. So you'll see that throughout the project area. You'll see that wherever there's landscaping and they've taken out the landscaping, they will put it back and it'll be much better. Those trees, and I believe this is a question Mr. Dale had at one point for us previously, those trees that we replace, the new ones that come in, they are typically, they're not saplings, right? But they're not mature trees. You know, they're closer to being younger trees, and that's because they need to be that way to establish well. Mature trees do not reestablish well. So if we went to plant those, they would be dead pretty quickly. And that's a problem for the contractor because they have a responsibility that extends 3 years beyond the project completion. Well, it's 3 years beyond planting, where they have to monitor that. And anything that dies, any irrigation system that breaks, they have to replace that. So they're not going to want to, you know, put in the ground things that aren't going to last.
Thank you, Chris. Just as a follow-up, Camille did also point this out, so this might be something you want to address here,
Yeah.
that there is 3 different plantings of trees in the same area. And she's asking if hopefully they're done, or pointing out maybe they're done.
Yeah, it's a question we can't answer right now. I just don't know what the rest of the work entails. I imagine that, well, generally speaking, landscaping work waits until the end of the project. And that's because you've got construction crews coming in there that really don't care about the landscaping, right? So to get their job done, they may trample the existing landscaping or new landscaping that's installed. Because of that, the contractor tries to hold off on installing new landscaping where there is active construction work. Typically, they wait till the end of the project. However, what we've seen in some parts of the project is they will advance the landscaping following discussions with a given city to see if that's acceptable, right? Because I think their preference would be to not have to wait until the end as well. Hope that was helpful.
Yes, it was. I think it's a great explanation of how they're doing the landscaping, finishing up project first. There is another question from Mr. Dale asking if the old oak trees were supposed to remain. I think it goes into a little bit more detail that we maybe need to get additional information on, but Chris, if you know more, if you could please share.
I do not.
Okay.
I do not.
Thank you. Yeah, we do have a response to you, Mr. Dale, and we're working on getting those answers to you. So we'll make sure we follow up accordingly. Another question from Nick is asking why there's an explanation for the first sewer replacement and why it wasn't successful and how we will know this will be successful this time around.
Sure. Well, as you probably know, the key with any sewer system is that you get the grade correct, right? You want the flow going correctly, and you don't want water sitting, and you certainly don't want backflow, right? We wanted to get it right. It's a difficult engineering process. We're going under the freeway. It's known as a jack and bore. They're basically boring under the freeway and removing that debris and that dirt, those spoils they call them. And it's a critically important to get that exact, right? We want to ensure we get it right. We want to get the grade exactly perfect so that the flow is correct. That has taken longer than anticipated. But at the end of the day, a better system will be in place, and that's what's key. A new sewer line there.
Perfect. Thank you, Chris. Real quick, I wanted to just mention on the landscaping from the last couple of questions as well. Our technical teams weighed in here. We are trying to, for the project, advance the landscape within the cities, and we've requested to do so with the city of Seal Beach. So as we complete certain areas of the job, we are trying to advance that installation of landscaping where no work is needed further. So like Chris mentioned, once we've completed the activity, we're trying to get in there and work on the irrigation and planting of trees as soon as possible. The next question that we do have from Mr. Dale was in reference to the height of the wall, citing that it was supposed to be 18 to 19 feet, not 14. Maybe a difference in the height, but Chris, if you wanted to elaborate on the height at all.
Yeah, so the walls are lower further south. The wall is lower further south. It's 2 walls, right? They do overlap each other, but generally speaking, you can sort of see it as 1 wall. It is lower on the southern end, and as you know, higher on because there's the transition from the 605 there. It's higher on the north end. The information we have is what I provided. What we'll do just to make sure we have all our ducks in a row is we will, while we're on the call here, we'll check the plans and make sure that we have the correct height information. Again, you do need to remember that this is a sound wall on top of a retaining wall. So the height will vary because the retaining wall height varies. It's steady for a certain length, and then it starts to go up. There's also some jogs at the south end of the wall, a little bit of jog down. But that is, we'll check on the exact height, and it won't be any lower than it was before. It will be at least that high. And what I'd like to check is it going to be higher in any location? I don't believe it is, but we're going to check. And the size of the wall or the height of the wall is again determined during the environmental analysis. phase of the project, right? So during that phase, they conduct a noise study, and the noise study examines existing noise, right? What exists at the time, and then it uses that and some modeling information to identify what the sound is anticipated to be once the project is built, right? Once the project is completed. And that completion year that we look at for this project, where we're estimating out to, is 2040, right? So it's the noise level in 2040 that we're looking at. So the wall is built to the height to address the sound level that's going to be existing in 2040 as modeled. And the key there is basically keeping the sound below 68 decibels or below. And that's essentially where it exists today. One important thing to remember about Caltrans's standards and walls that they construct is they're not meant to attenuate noise in second stories, right? So if you're looking above the first story, the noise attenuation doesn't happen at that level, and that's their standard they follow. So, and that's what we have to follow when we're designing and constructing the project.
Perfect. Thanks, Chris. And
Mhm.
and just to confirm, our technical team is looking into it, but they did at least confirm that they will be the same. So they are looking into seeing if it will be a little taller in certain areas or not, but they did at least confirm, and they know that it will be at least the same. The next question we have is from Camille again, and is asking if we're going to be replacing the asphalt and striping on Northgate Road, or if that'll be something local contractors do.
That's a great question, Camille. So OCTA, as the owner of the project, has agreements. They're known as cooperative agreements with the various agencies, Caltrans being one of them, for example, but also each of the cities. And those cooperative agreements include elements with respect to paving, right? So if there's, these trucks and the contractors, they're driving all over the local streets, the local arterials. The cities often, as part of this, receive money for pavement rehabilitation. I would suspect that in this case, Northgate Road falls under that category, where the road will be any need to pay the road will be handled by the city, perhaps with these funds from the cooperative agreement from the pavement rehabilitation portion of it. That is a question that we will ask the city about. We'll also ask our technical team. We have some members of the city on the meeting right now, so we'll check, and I anticipate we will get an answer, the correct answer for you before the end of the meeting.
Perfect. Thanks, Chris. One other question, and from Mr. Dale, and kind of is a good follow-up for the last thing you talked about with the wall heights, in regards to mitigating the noise. Is there any way that we address the freeway noise beyond the wall?
The answer to that question is no. We do not. There's no the sound walls are the attenuators for the noise. So that is the structure.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next one, Mr. Dale followed up with asking if there's going to be cypress trees added along the wall. And I think, Chris, you already answered this one with, we are working on finishing up work and then planting later, but the landscape plans aren't complete. Do you know if we have an idea of plants in that area, or are we still waiting to determine that later on?
I do not. And to be honest, I don't know. We'll need to check on that. We'll need to check on what landscaping plans exist for this area and for this interchange, for this segment of the project.
Perfect. Thank you, Chris. And then another question from Nick here. He did point out that he has some questions about the noise studies, and so that Leisure World does have their own air quality monitors, and they've been collecting data since 2017. So wondering if you could address that, or if at least answer and provide some more data on the studies that we've done, or potentially mitigating as we move forward with the project.
Gotcha. So all of this again is contained in the environmental document. I understand the position, your point of view saying it's not measured when once the project is completed. This is a Caltrans process. The environmental phase is overseen by Caltrans. They are the owner and operator of the freeway system. Their standards are what are used to do that environmental analysis. So, I would defer you to them and to that process and to the final environmental document. It's at that point during the environmental phase that you really want to register your concerns about it. It's always an option to challenge the studies and how they're done in the document. But it is their process that is followed, and it was followed, right? You have a signed environmental document, and that is that speaks to the fact that it was done accurately and per Caltrans requirements.
Perfect. Thank you, Chris.
Also per the state and federal environmental regulations, CEQA and NEPA, the California Environmental Quality Act and the National Environmental Policy Act, I believe.
Thank you. Yeah, the acronyms.
Yeah.
It's always searchable on Google, right? And then we have another follow-up here from Camille. We did get the answer to this from the technical team. So to answer your question, Camille, back on the Northgate Road for the paving, OCTA is supplying money to the city for pavement rehabilitation, but we'll also be performing some repair that is caused by the project and the sewer line work that we're doing now.
Yeah, we're definitely, when we do the sewer work, we're not going to leave a big hole in the road. For sure. So there'll be repair there, and then I imagine some other minor repairs, as Logan points out.
Perfect. And then I think we have one more question here from Mr. Dale in regards to if we are working with the city of Seal Beach regarding the bicycle path, and if we're not, is there a potential that we can?
Yeah, I think, Mr. Dale, you may be referring to the bicycle path along the San Gabriel River. San Gabriel River, and that's right on the edge there between Los Angeles County and Orange County. We can talk to our technical team, find out if there's anything that that we have as it relates to that. It's not technically within the project area, if my understanding is correct, the trail itself, but that path is a question. There may be something related to that. So we need to check on that. And then again, we do have city staff members on the call. So if they have information, I'm sure we can get an update from them as well and provide it to you during the meeting.
Perfect. Thank you, Chris. And Camille, I did see your comment come through on Q&A. You're more than welcome. And again, if you guys have any questions after the meeting or anything like that, always feel free to reach out to us. We are looking to our technical team to try to get us a little information here. Why we are doing that, though, I'm going to go ahead and share the contact information again one more time on screen. So I'll go ahead and put it up, so it should be up now. And just as a reminder, we'll be sending a link to the recording in the next 24 hours to our Leisure World database and anyone that is registered for this event. Just as a reminder. And we just got our answer back in regards to the bicycle path. Sorry there. And we are coordinating our work with the bicycle path on Seal Beach Boulevard specific to the city plans. So that's what we're doing currently.
So I'm going to step in on that one. That's on Seal Beach Boulevard, right? So this is on Northgate Road that Mr. Dale is talking about. And he mentions, I see that he's talking about the one that goes west along the wall, adjacent to Leisure World. I've been on that path. I parked at the probably illegally so at the Frontier lot. Don't quote me on that. And been on that path. Again, we'll need to check with the technical team to find out if that is within our purview and what, if anything, we might be doing with that path.
Thank you, Chris.
Sure.
And then we do have another question right now from Nick. Nick, we're trying to get an answer from our technical team, but this is something we may need to follow up on later in regards to, and Chris, the question is asking if we check our models and do monitoring after the project to make sure that our predictions done during the study are accurate.
Yeah, so actually that's not a question that we're going to be able to answer for you. I would defer you to Caltrans on that. They're the ones who oversaw the environmental phase of the project. They are the lead agency on that, and they carry the environmental document. You'll need to speak to them to get an answer on that question. Thank you, though.
All right. With that, and yes, yeah, Nick, please go ahead and contact Caltrans to answer that question. As Nick or as Chris said, that is one that we won't be able to answer. And again, though, if you do have questions about the project and ongoing for the project, always feel free to ask us. We'll be able to help you with those.
Right.
And Mr. Dale, you are very welcome. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for your questions. I know you have a lot of questions, and we will follow up with you after the meeting once we get questions back from the technical team. So please, we'll make sure we answer all of those. With that, though, I would like to put up the last poll. We'd like to know how this community meeting worked for you. Would you like to see more virtual meetings for construction updates? That'll be our poll. So please take a second to answer that for us. We'll give you a few seconds here. And as we're doing that, as a reminder on screen, as you should be able to see, is the contact information for the project, the multiple different ways that you can get a hold of us. And thank you for those that responded. An astounding yes. So 100% yes, they want to see us again, Chris. So
maybe they want to see you again, Logan. I don't know if they want to see me.
Maybe. But again, thank you all for your time, and we wish you have a great evening.
I will remind, before we go, I will remind you that it's always easy to get hold of us. You've got the information on your screen. As Logan has pointed out several times, send us an email, drop us a phone call. We will get back to you within 24 to 48 hours. If we don't have an answer to your question, we'll still get back to you and let you know that we're researching it. Please, we handle a few hundred questions a month. It's super busy. We've got basically 32 miles of corridor. It's 16 miles long, but it's both directions with, as you can imagine, residents and business owners and motorists traveling up and down and they're on both sides. So if you don't hear from us, it is, we don't want you to have to do this, but feel free to nag us. We're always busy though, and but nonetheless, we'll make time to get answers for your questions.
Perfect. Again, thank you for your time and have a great evening.